And it goes for Fire Spin, which doesn't take out Iron Hands, but look at its HP. It's going to go out at the end of this turn. Hello everybody, S13 here. Welcome back to another episode of MetroMania. In the last episode, we said goodbye to Sandy Shocks as Iron Jugulis steamrolled its way through to the quarterfinals to become the future opponent of Iron Moth. So Iron Jugulis moves on, Sandy Shock says goodbye. Now we need to find another quarterfinalist out as we have Great Tusk taking on Iron Hands. So here we go, it's Iron Hands taking on Great Tusk, two of the big physical hitters from Generation 9, getting ready and raring to go here. Great Tusk will start things off with Fire Pledge onto Iron Hands there for a little bit of chip damage. Not a great special attacker, of course, Great Tusk, more of a physical beast, as are both these Pokemon. There's the double team to start things off from Shiny Great Tusk, going to raise its evasiveness by one stage, which means it's going to be much harder to hit. If you can't be hit, you can't be taken down. So here's regular Iron Hands starting things off with Disarming Voice, which will be super effective on both the Great Tusks there. So a little bit of chip damage to both opponents, and now Shiny Iron Hands is going to go for Metal Claw for a tiny bit more chip damage onto Shiny Great Tusk, who will start the next turn with that Metronome. Gets ready for Sky Attack, which is going to be neutral damage to the fighting and electric Iron Hands there. Now Great Tusk is going to go for a follow-up. What will it do here? Going to go for Brutal Swing, which will hit everybody on the field for not very effective damage, but I guess you still hit both opponents. I mean, if you're going to do a risky play, it might as well be a not very effective risky play. Hit the subscribe button though, that's super effective. Hit the bell so you never miss anything. And of course, with Gravity Intensified, nothing is going to be missed in this battle now. Lots of accuracy just went skyrocketing. Here's a Bulldoze, which is a risky play there because it's super effective on Shiny Iron Hands there from regular Iron Hands, but it does drop the speed of both opponents as well as, obviously, of Shiny Iron Hands. Here's the Sky Attack, though, from Shiny Great Tusk. Not a great deal of damage there onto Iron Hands. And now regular Great Tusk getting itself ready for Petal Blizzard, which again hits everybody on the field, but it's super effective on its partner Pokemon, so that's a very scary move to use there. Iron Hands is going to go for an Energy Ball, which is super effective. Takes down Shiny Great Tusk there, so we're already down one Great Tusk already, and it's only been a couple of turns. So now over to the Shiny Iron Hands. What's it got on its mind here? Going to go for Throat Chop. Not very effective, but does prevent any sound-based moves if Great Tusk decides to go for any of those at the start of this next turn. And Great Tusk is going to go for Lunar Blessing onto itself, obviously, because it's like Psychic type Life Dew, isn't it? Going to restore its own HP by 25% of maximum, and now Dive, which will be super effective on the next turn from the regular Iron Hands there. Great Tusk needs to get out of dodge real quick. Here's Shiny Iron Hands, though, who gets ready with the Metronome. It goes for Sweet Kiss onto that Great Tusk there, so going to confuse it, so it may end up hitting itself in confusion. Let's see what happens. It's confused as the next turn begins. What will it do? Is it gonna... It's gonna gonna ignore the confusion. It's gonna get ready with that Metronome. Go for Shell Sidearm, the signature move of Galarian Slowbro there for a decent chunk of damage. Takes Shiny Iron Hands down to less than half its max HP. There's the Dive, doing barely anything though from regular Iron Hands there, because of course big defensive beast is Great Tusk there. Synthesis coming out from the Shiny Iron Hands there, going to restore its HP back up to almost maximum. Great play there. Great Tusk is still confused as the next turn begins, but it is going to ignore that Metronome there. If the text comes up saying it's confused before it's done that weird action, it won't hurt self-confusion is what I've noticed. Here's a Smog Attack though, landing on Iron Hands there. Testament to that gravity, the fact Smog actually landed. Here's a Leech Seed from the regular Iron Hands though onto Great Tusk. So now Great Tusk needs to deal with that Iron Hands ASAP if it wants to not get its energy sapped turn by turn. Here's a Vacuum Wave for a big, decent critical hit of chip damage there to Great Tusk, and there we see the health sapped by the Leech Seed. Great Tusk is in a really difficult position right now as the Iron Hands team only gets more and more HP back. Great Tusk, of course, is confused, but we saw the text, which means it's going to use the Metronome. So what's it going to do here as a last-ditch effort? Goes for a Taunt, so now that Iron Hands can't use Metronome. It's a decent play right there, so it can't use the Metronome for this turn, and on the next turn it will be forced to struggle. Shiny Iron Hands, though, is free to do whatever it pleases. Goes for a Trop Kick, and that's enough. Down goes Great Tusk, 1-0. Let's hear from our sponsors.
Oh my lord, is it that time already? It's time to talk about the beautiful, wonderful G Fuel! Fuel! G Fuel, as I constantly tell you guys, is an energy formula with barely any calories, zero sugar, and a whole heap of wonderful flavors like the lovely, fantastical Nemesis tea that I'm drinking today. It's so gorgeous. Nemesis tea, without a doubt, is and always will be my favorite G Fuel flavor. It's absolutely bloody brilliant. Oh, that's so bloody good. And the best part is you can go to gfuel.com, you can fill up your basket with all kinds of wonderful G Fuel goodies, and you can use code ACE to help support this channel while saving yourself 20% off your order. Remember though, G Fuel is for over 18s only because it contains caffeine, and children don't need to be anywhere near caffeine. They're annoying enough as it is, and because it contains caffeine, drink it responsibly. Don't be a dickhead.
So here we go, round 2, Iron Hands leading 1-0. Great Tusk needs to win 2 rounds in a row if it wants to go through to the quarterfinals. Iron Hands just needs to win 1 now. We start things off with an Accel Rock from Shiny Great Tusk onto regular Iron Hands there for a tiny bit of damage. And now the regular Great Tusk is going to go for Parabolic Charge, which won't affect its ally Pokemon, but will do not very effective damage to both the Iron Hands there. And if it had taken any damage, it would have restored a bit of HP from both of those hits. We see Fell Stinger from the Shiny Iron Hands there. Not very effective on the fighting and ground type Great Tusk. And now Iron Hands is going to go for Retaliate onto Great Tusk for a decent chunk of damage there. With the crit, maybe you'd have hoped to do a little bit more, but decent chunk of damage nonetheless there from regular Iron Hands. We see Glaive Rush, which is a very risky play there, onto Iron Hands from regular Great Tusk, because that means that it will take double damage on the next turn, I believe. I believe that's how that works. Here's a flip turn for a little bit more chip damage onto Iron Hands from the Shiny Great Tusk. And now Shiny Iron Hands is raring to go. Goes for Last Resort. That is going to fail in a Metronome battle, unfortunately. My sincere apologies, my condolences to you and yours. And now we see regular Iron Hands, who's going to go for Synthesis and restore its HP back up to maximum. Not going to capitalize on that Glaive Rush after effect there, but does put its HP right back up to maximum. Over to Great Tusk to start of the next turn, and it's going to go for Shell Sidearm once again onto Shiny Iron Hands there, so gets a decent hit as well. Now we see Shiny Great Tusk, who is going to fire off a Metal Claw for some not very effective damage onto the Shiny Iron Hands there, maybe hoping to get an attack boost, but that did not happen. Over to Iron Hands now, who's going to go for Snipe Shot, Shades of Inteleon, for a super effective hit. Not a crit though, unfortunately. Oh man, imagine not getting a crit on a Snipe Shot. And now we see Overheat coming out, but it's avoided by Shiny Great Tusk there from the Shiny Iron Hands. That's very unfortunate for the Iron Hands team. Over to Shiny Great Tusk, who's going to go for Hypnosis and land it. And Gravity's not in effect at this point, by the way, so that's very lucky. Regular Iron Hands is going to be fast asleep now as a result of that Hypnosis. And now we have regular Great Tusk to start off the very next turn with Frost Breath onto that same Iron Hands. Lucky for that Iron Hands, it can't be frozen. It's only stuck asleep. And now Shiny Iron Hands is getting itself ready. Going to fire back with Brutal Swing. Again, that hits everybody on the field for not very effective damage, so not a great deal done there. Not much achieved. Regular Iron Hands, of course, fast asleep. That first turn of sleep, absolutely guaranteed. And now Shiny Great Tusk will start off this next turn with Taunt. Oh, we've seen this. We know how dangerous this is. Lucky for that Iron Hands, it is fast asleep, so it doesn't have to worry about the taunt there, but it means it can't use Metronome until that taunt goes away. Here comes regular Great Tusk for a decent hit there with the Shadow Punch onto the Shiny Iron Hands. Regular Iron Hands wakes up but can't use Metronome, so a wasted turn for that Pokemon. It's going to struggle until that taunt ends. Here's the Shiny Iron Hands with Bone Rush, but it's avoided by the Shiny Great Tusk, who looks to fire back, capitalize on that faux pas there with Frost Breath, another Frost Breath, onto the Shiny Iron Hands there, bringing it down to less than half its max HP. This is a bit more even than the previous battle. That much can definitely be said. Great Tusk goes for Bind, so it's going to do residual bind damage at the end of each turn to Shiny Iron Hands there. It's going to get squeezed after every turn's end. Here comes Shiny Iron Hands, though. It's going to fire back with a Trop Kick. It won that the last round. That's going to do significant damage to Great Tusk there and drop its attack by 1 stage. That's a fantastic play. Regular Iron Hands has to struggle. Takes a little bit more chip damage off that Great Tusk, but takes 25% of its own HP as recoil damage. There's the Bind slowly wearing away at Shiny Iron Hands. This suddenly isn't as even as we thought it was. It's a bit more one-sided. Great Tusk is going to go for Reflect and protect its team against physical hits right there. So great choice of move by the regular Great Tusk. Now the Shiny Great Tusk is going to follow up with Rising Voltage. Not going to be very effective on the electric type, but at this point I don't think the Great Tusk team are too worried. So here's the struggle from the regular Iron Hands there, bringing that Great Tusk down to less than half its max HP, but another 25% of its max HP in recoil damage is a very dangerous place to be. Roleplay is going to fail. No abilities can be swapped or changed in this particular kind of battle because of the Pokemon involved. There's more bind damage, putting Shiny Iron Hands in the danger zone there. And now the regular Iron Hands are shook off the taunt, so no more taunt. It can finally go back to using Metronome. Great Tusk is going to go for Mud Shot for some super effective damage, and down goes Shiny Iron Hands. Just one Iron Hands left on the field here. And what is it going to do? It's in a very, very difficult situation at this point. We see Great Tusk, though, is going to follow up with Flamethrower. Lucky for Iron Hands, Great Tusk is not much of a special attacker there. So Iron Hands doesn't get burned either by the Flamethrower, has to mount some kind of offense, goes for Sucker Punch. That's going to fail. So this is not good for Iron Hands right now. Great Tusk in a fantastic position. One more hit, and it goes for Fire Spin, which doesn't take out Iron Hands, but look at its HP. It's going to go out at the end of this turn. It needs to do something drastic. Great Tusk goes for Electric Terrain, which is only going to benefit the Quark Drive using Iron Hands. So that's a very weird choice of play there. So, of course, that's going to boost the attack stat of Iron Hands. Can Iron Hands do anything with this? Can it use any way of capitalizing? Goes for Gigaton Hammer, the signature move of Tinkerton. Down goes Great Tusk. What is that? Wait, that means Fire Spin is over. So another turn. Great Tusk is here. Goes for Fake Tears onto Iron Hands, but Iron Hands just saved its own backside with that Gigaton Hammer. Special defense drop, though, harshly by the Great Tusk. Flower Trick, though, which is the signature move from Meowscarada, onto Great Tusk, and down it goes. This Iron Hands has just pulled a 2-0 out of nowhere. What an amazing battle that was. So Iron Hands are going through to the quarterfinals, but oh my word, that was incredible. It looked like it was going to a 1-1, to an equalizer, but what a great play. Oh, you've got to tune in for the next heat where we see Iron Hand's opponent decided between Flutter Mane and Iron Valiant. Now, let me just say a big thank you to our wonderful Ace Trainer Ultra XL members who are Bro Metapod, Purple Dragonair, Ghost Lupin, Sin City Yeti, Mumbai, Cobra, Gear Overlord, Toy Bonnie, TJ the Nerd, Night Angel, Lucas Gates, Kingly Gamer YT, and Viridian Folk. Thank you all for your massive support on our channel.
So that'll do it for another episode of MetroMania. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. Share the video with a friend. Head to this very YouTube channel right here to check out my live streams. Click the join button to become a channel member. And of course, use code ACE for money off G Fuel. But until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.